Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including Tesla's new super battery, new Model 3 refresh details and North American release date, the disappearing Model S, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, we talked a lot about Tesla's new Hardware 4.0 a few videos ago. That's because while this setup brings new cameras and a new FSD computer to the latest Model Y, S, and X, it actually brings reduced functionality. For some, this has come in the form of reduced summon and other features like that for the past few months, but now we learn that the FSD beta is only beginning to arrive on these cars. With that in play, Elon Musk also confirmed that the FSD software on Hardware 4 cars will lag that of older Hardware 3 cars for at least 6 months. I talked about this in great detail in my last video, but the interesting thing is seeing that if you aren't buying FSD, Hardware 4 does bring great improvements to image quality. Now that these cars are out, owners are doing camera comparisons, and the results are quite noticeable. On top of this though, Tesla has recently improved their camera feeds in software. Here is a Hardware 3 Tesla on FSD Beta 11.4.6, and then Beta 11.4.7. With software alone and the way Tesla is processing this footage, it got much better. Here is Dirty Tesla comparing the same hardware with new software. On top of this though, Hardware 4 does make improvements. This is noticeable in the depth of this image and how much it is affected by sunlight. Ultimately, this should help with self-driving, but I'm also curious to see how Tesla may make this current Hardware 4 feed even better with software in the future. It shows that as a user not too concerned with self-driving, Hardware 4 does bring noticeable camera improvements. This will always be improving, and Tesla is rumored to be partnering with Samsung for Hardware 5. Next up today, more and more details are coming in about Tesla's Project Highland refresh, and the latest is a bit of a disappointment. Tesla made no mention of a front camera on the new Model 3, and none of the initial European YouTubers said anything about this. It clearly wasn't there on their cars, but it has been heavily rumored to be coming on this car. The front camera would add more flexibility and visibility as a driver, and should bring better FSD functionality. Long term, it could help make a 360 overhead system as well, and help with the removal of parking sensors Tesla did. We know Tesla is adding this on the Cybertruck, and we've even seen it in action on screen in the wild. Putting it on the latest Model 3, potentially releasing at similar timeframes, would make a lot of sense. In Tesla's official promotional videos for the Project Highland Model 3, this camera was clearly there, so many saw this as a confirmation, but now these photos have been removed and replaced. This appears to be Tesla confirming that they aren't shipping a front camera, but according to TeslaScope on Twitter, quote, following recent public discussions with @GreenTheOnly and limited details from our sources, Tesla is still finalizing the hardware and software for bumper cameras. This is one reason the Cybertruck's bumper camera has only been seen on more recently built prototypes. While speculative, we believe that Tesla's goal is to still include the bumper camera on all new Model 3s upon delivery. However, in the case of unpredictable roadblocks, its removal from promotional material helps settle expectations. So Tesla still wants to ship this on the refreshed Model 3, but it may not be available in the first wave, so they have removed mention of it for now. Definitely a disappointing limbo for those in Europe taking first deliveries of this car, but hopefully it comes soon. That said, North America still has yet to see any announcement of this car, and it appears that this is very intentional. According to TeslaScope, quote, North America, we have some reassuring news for you. We're pleased to share that Project Highland for North America will be tentatively announced in Q1 of 2024. Production lines for the redesigned Model 3 are being finalized over the next 3 weeks at Fremont. They also mention a small handful of changes on the North American version. One of those changes very well could be finalizing and adding this camera by the time that this comes, but I'm very curious to see if other major changes occur as well. The performance version is yet to be seen, and Tesla sources their batteries differently in America, so some are speculating the addition of a 4680 Model 3 for the US. We'll have to see. It's definitely an odd launch, but it lines up with the timelines and scaling of Tesla's factories. Shanghai and Fremont make the Model 3, and Shanghai is much quicker at production in general, as well as vehicle iterations. It is pretty crazy though to be waiting another 3 months to even see this new Model 3 announced in the US. Soon enough though, people may not even care as Cybertruck launch dominates the news. Next up today, let's talk about Tesla's legacy cars, the Model S and Model X. Back in 2019, Elon Musk was talking about the Model S and X. At that time, Tesla was ramping the Model 3 and about to launch the now incredibly popular Model Y a year later. When asked about a refresh, he said, "There is no refreshed Model X or Model S coming, only a series of minor ongoing changes. Most significant change in past few years was to use high-efficiency Model 3 rear drive unit as S/X front drive unit. That went into production 3 months ago." Obviously, Tesla went a different direction, and even though Elon said no to an interior revamp anytime soon, they did give it a major revamp about a year and a half later. That was the refresh that came with the Plaid Model S launch, adding the horizontal center screen, an updated interior, got rid of stalks, only offered the yoke as an option, added a rear screen, and more. It took some time to scale up these cars, but today they are fully available. The thing is, these are far from Tesla's priority. For Q2, Tesla sold 19,225 Model S's and X's. Compared to the Model 3 and Y, that's about 23 times less vehicles sold. Tesla's strategy going forward is to scale up production and lower prices, economies of scale. In line with this, we're continually seeing signs that the Model S and X may be disappearing in the near future, particularly the Model S. In May of this year, Tesla announced that they would be canceling orders of right-hand drive Model S's and X's and would no longer be offering these cars in those markets. Likely it just wasn't profitable enough for them to shift the Fremont factory, the only factory that makes these cars, to right-hand drive and ship them overseas. At the same time, Tesla has been continually pushing features from the Model S down to their cheaper vehicles, and this became extremely obvious with the new Model 3. The Model 3 is clearly a smaller vehicle than the Model S, and it has a trunk as opposed to a hatchback, but some of the great features of the Model S relate to the interior upgrades. There's a clean dash and steering wheel without stalks. While this is controversial, to Tesla it has been a major Model S feature until now. For rear passengers, the Model S has a rear screen, but the new Model 3 adds a screen that in practice actually looks a bit better in my opinion. The Model S has a 22-speaker sound system, and the Model 3 now has been upgraded to 17. More speakers isn't what necessarily makes a car's system better, so we'll have to compare the two on release, but the Model 3 could easily sound just as good. For the interior, the Model S has ventilated seats, and now so does the Model 3. The Model S has a range of 405 miles, but now the Model 3 is looking to have a range around 375 miles. If you've upgraded wheels on the Model S, this matches the Model S range, and does so on a smaller battery pack, meaning the Model 3 should be able to travel a similar distance for cheaper and won't take as long to charge. Well, what about colors? Tesla has introduced the ultra red color on the Model S and X, but now that's becoming available on the Model 3 as well. If you like the more aggressive look of the front of the Model S, the Model 3 is getting that too. On top of that, there are a few things in the new Model 3 that improve on the Model S. There's an LED light strip around the cockpit that is customizable, the cabin is much quieter than before, and it very well could be adding a front camera. All of these changes were likely a huge motivation for Tesla's recent price drop on the Model S and X. The Model S now starts at $74,990, down around $40,000 or so from what we had seen in recent years. The Plaid now starts at $89,990, so even the Model S Plaid, still holding the title of quickest accelerating vehicle in production, with a 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, is apparently having trouble selling unless Tesla prices it under $100,000. They even made all paint colors an option at no extra charge. The Model X similarly lowered to $79,990 and $89,990 respectively. That means you can get a Plaid Model S or X for $90,000. So here the question becomes, what is making people pay up for a Model S or X? Even with these recent price drops, you're looking at a starting price of $40,000 for a Model 3. Let's say that the Highland refresh increases that by $5,000. I think it'll be less than that, but for the sake of this example, Highland Model 3 starts at $45,000 when Tesla announces it in Q1 as rumored. Is a $30,000 upgrade worthwhile to the Model S? You'll get more space, air suspension, a hatchback, a yoke option, an instrument cluster display, and that's about it that might matter day to day. For the vast majority of customers, that's not worth a $30,000 upgrade. That's the cost of another used Model 3, just to keep it in vehicle comparisons. That Model S also does not have the latest battery technology that Tesla is putting into the Model 3. For the Model X, soon enough, Tesla will be introducing their Project Juniper Model Y. Pretty much you'll be looking at those same upgrades to go to a Model X for around $30,000 more, just like jumping from Model 3 to S. This is what leads me to believe that in the near future, Tesla is going to discontinue the Model S and X. In 2019, when talking about the production of these cars, Elon was clear about their importance. He said that Tesla continues to produce them more for sentimental reasons than anything else. He also added, quote, "They are really of minor importance to our future. Now the demand appears to be dropping, the price keeps lowering, and the features are trickling down to the Model 3 and Y, it only makes sense." That said, there is one thing with these cars that the Model 3 and Y cannot touch: Plaid. The Plaid powertrain is something we know Tesla wants to keep making. A 1.99 second 0 to 60 proves a lot for electric vehicles and Tesla's dominance as well. But where is the performance Model 3? So far, Tesla is only offering a rear-wheel drive and long-range version of the refreshed Model 3. You can order it in various markets, but the performance is nowhere to be seen. In the US, you can still order the now old Model 3 Performance. It's $53,240, comes with performance upgrades, a top speed of 162 miles per hour, and a 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds. It's impressive, but for this refresh, Tesla is still working on this model. Even though they kept motors and batteries the same in the new Model 3, the performance is left out so far. That is leading many to speculate that Tesla could be producing a Plaid Model 3, a tri-motor variant of this car that could, in theory, match or exceed the specs of the Model S Plaid at a cheaper price. There is no question that if Tesla did this car would be extremely popular. But at the same time, if they did that, they would be destroying the Model S in one swoop. Of course, there will always be a market for a Model S, but Tesla is aiming at the standard, the scalable, and the profitable. Just like the original Roadster, we could soon see the Model S as a true legacy car that was a stepping stone for Tesla, and they no longer make. After all, it's, quote, "really of minor importance to our future." That said, the Model X is Tesla's only true three-row SUV. Could that be enough for them to continue producing it? Or will they instead go all in on Cybertruck and the $25,000 EV and keep the Model 3 and Y as their flagship vehicles? Leave a comment below to let me know your thoughts. Next up today, Tesla is always hard at work on the future of battery tech. While some tend to think that they may be behind, since they aren't pushing radical claims of battery tech that may never arrive, they are always investigating future battery options that can be scaled. After all, it doesn't really matter how far it can go if they can't produce millions of them. The Jeff Dahn Research Group is responsible for many discoveries in the EV world, many of which are in Tesla vehicles today, and Tesla continues to partner with them. At this lab, quote, "We have 5 big goals that we agreed on, Tesla and us. These are cost, energy density, safety, lifetime, and sustainability." Interestingly, while Tesla is fast moving, this lab is able to move slowly, publishing research every 2 to 3 years thanks to long-term Tesla funding. Quote, "Tesla wants to work with us, I would say, because we try to do things very carefully and really understand how we can improve batteries. One of their latest advances is the 1,000,000-mile battery that should last long enough, charged repeatedly, for 1,000,000 miles without a battery pack change on a vehicle. Michael Metzger is one of the main scientists behind this project and detailed this battery in a recent interview. This tiny foil package adds silicon carbide to the mix. Quote, "If you put silicon into your negative electrode, you can increase the energy density a lot. Even in this small volume, you can store the same energy as you can in this thick battery, the lithium iron phosphate battery." Right now, it doesn't cycle as well as the LFP battery developed by them, but that 1,000,000-mile battery, quote, "it's due for a major name change. This cell, it has now 19,500 cycles and counting. Each cycle is 300 kilometers. So if it were at 20,000 cycles, it would be 6 million kilometers. That's around 3,728,227 miles, nearly approaching 4 million miles. On top of that, after the 3 million mile mark, they are finding the battery to actually be getting better. This is battery research in a lab, but what's particularly exciting is the problems that this particular lab is solving and has solved in the past. Their discoveries have impacted the whole EV industry, and right now they're working to get the benefits of LFP battery cell-like functionality into this now 4 million mile battery. In the future, this could absolutely be a huge contribution to a Tesla super battery, a battery that lasts longer than any other and makes these cars an incredible long-term investment. It's always exciting to see these advancements and know that as Tesla is scaling their current tech, they're always working on the thing for the long future. Last up today, Tesla's supercharging may be seeing some competition in the coming years. Tesla's network is currently unmatched when it comes to availability and reliability on the road. Most other EV chargers struggle with slow charging times, broken screens, and small stations that leave EV drivers waiting a long time to charge. This has left Tesla pretty much in control of the EV charging market in the US. It may be a different story in South Korea though. Hyundai is developing their own 350 kilowatt EV chargers. It's coming from Hyundai's engine and transmission parts making unit, and they're aiming to introduce them to the Korean market later this year. They announced this, quote, Blue Plug initiative last October, and once they secure government certification, it'll be rolling out across the country. Similar to Tesla, Hyundai is leaning in on their charging strategy in order to bolster their own EV sales. More reliable fast charging stations make their EVs more reasonable for long distance driving. In order to stay competitive with other charging station companies in their home country, Hyundai has made some changes in the last couple of years. That's ended up driving up costs and limiting how fast they can scale them. In contrast to Tesla, Hyundai is working with other developers to implement this strategy. That could prove to be a much longer process, but provide a much better product in the end than a lot of other legacy automakers. That said, Tesla does have a ridiculous advantage in the supercharging space, so we'll have to see how that works over in Korea. Tesla hasn't disclosed their install cost, but through federal grant awards, we've been able to see that Tesla bids an average of $392,000 per site in the US. The average from others is $795,000, around 51% more. On top of this, Tesla is growing in a practical way, whereas others are simply going for the federal minimum. Quote, in most cases, Tesla plans to install 8 chargers and in some cases a dozen. Most companies are sticking to the minimum requirement by the federal government, at least 4 fast charging ports at a station. Elon responded to this saying, big difference in efficiency. They have years of experience in scaling here, and it may take a lot for others like Hyundai to keep up. I'm rooting for it though, because true competition is always a good thing, especially in the charging space. Over in Australia, Tesla has expanded the superchargers open to other EVs to include most of the network there. Here is a map before and then after. As noted by Electrek, quote, Tesla's supercharger map might look a bit sparse in Australia, but the country's population is greatly concentrated on the coasts, and therefore the automaker's roughly 50 superchargers cover travel between all of the major population centers. Progress is being made each day on growing this network and opening more chargers to other EVs. I'm excited to finally be able to charge another EV reliably in the US, hopefully next year. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see my full review of the updated 2024 Polestar 2, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.